Welcome to this very special 50th episode of the Active Listener Podcast. I apologize in advance for all the talking I'm going to do, but that's just the way it's going to have to be. All right, so since I started this thing back in December of 2009, at the suggestion of my lovely wife, I should add, I've spent a fair amount of time pondering what exactly my goal is. What's the purpose or meaning of this podcast? I've never consciously driven it in any direction, but rather kind of just let it evolve organically on its own. And so I found what that means is it's really just my own personal music journal that I open and share with anyone that wants to listen. You know, I'm not trying to find the next big thing. I'm not trying to expand my audience to anyone outside those that simply want to listen. I'm just sharing music I love with a little more context than a simple mixtape. So with that in mind, it's finally time that I get to an entry that is long overdue. I know most everyone that knows me has been wondering when the Dispatch podcast is coming. Well, here it is. Hopefully it lives up to what I have always hoped it could be. And again, I apologize for all the talking I'm going to do, but, I want this journal entry to be thorough. All right, then. So enough intro. Time for some music. The question is, where do I start? Well, how's this?
There was a decorated general with a heart of gold that likened him to all the stories he told of past battles won and lost and legends of old. A seasoned veteran in his own time. On the battlefield he gained respectful fame with many medals of bravery and stripes to his name. He grew a beard as soon as he could to cover the scars on his face and always urged his men on. But on the eve of a great battle with the infantry and dream, the old general tossed in his sleep and wrestled with its meaning. He awoke from the night to tell what he had seen and walked slowly out of his tent. All the men held tall with their chests in the air, with the courage in their blood and a fire in their stare. And it was a great morning and they all wondered how they would fare. So the old general told them to go home. He said, I have seen the others and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. And I've seen their mothers and I will no other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young man, you must be living. Take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young man, you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven. But the men stood fast with their guns on their shoulders, not knowing what to do with the contradicting orders. The general said he would do his own duty, but he extended no further. The men could go as they pleased, but not a man moved. Their eyes gazed straight ahead till one by one they stepped back and not a word was said. And the old general was left with his own words echoing in his head. He then prepared to fight. He said, I have seen the others and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. No, and I've seen their mothers and I will no other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. Oh, you got no time to lose. You are young man, you must be living. Yeah, take a shower and shine your shoes. Oh, you got no time to lose. You are young man, you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven. Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't want to say Dispatch changed my life because that just doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe shaped is a better term. Whatever it is, their music has been important to me for more than a decade now, and I can't say that about any other band. It all started right when I moved out to Santa Barbara for college back in 2000. I distinctly remember Jerry Morton, a high school friend who I have no idea what has happened to, by the way. So if you're out there, Jerry, hit me up. I'd love to talk music. Anyway, he sent me 2 tracks, one of which we just heard, The General, and we'll get to the other one later. Now, with those 2, I was just hooked. And I remember Jerry and me chatting over AIM about plans to meet up for a show Dispatch was playing in Denver that year. He was going to drive from Lubbock, and I was going to drive from Santa Barbara. And we were so close to pulling the trigger, but then just didn't. And kind of wish I had. But you see, the thing about Dispatch is that they're a band to see live. And how did I know that then? Well, because all the songs of theirs that I could find, well, this was all using Napster, were bootleg live recordings. It wasn't like when there were torrents now and you can find the whole catalog, all FLAC files, whatever. It was just this kind of random stuff. And so I'd like to get that idea across in this podcast and play some of these rare recordings or, at least off-album recordings. And here's an excellent example of one of these tunes. And if you know the final version of the song, Passerby, then you'll really appreciate how different and cool this early version is.
All right, while we're rolling with the new stuff, this is a song called Passerby that we haven't actually finished recording yet, but we did a recording of it out at the Muse and circulated a bunch of tapes. So we're psyched. We got an idea what we want to get out of it, but we have yet to kind of mold that sucker together. So we're going to try it out on you guys.
All right. We got about 2 or 3 more acoustic for you, and then we're going to kick it in again. So
I mean, it's only 9:30. We usually don't start until 10:30. This is unreal. We'll play until 4 or 5 in the morning. We'll be like, yeah! And it'll be like... Very new, very new.
Well, I've been crazy on the water, but it's the life that I choose. Don't hang around with your sixpence when you got nothing to lose. And won't you bring me my money? 'Cause I took all of yours. Don't leave me behind the back porch, 'cause I don't wanna be part of your. Don't you be a passerby. Oh, don't you sit down and stay a while. Oh, don't you be a passerby. Oh, don't you sit down and stay a while. 'Cause it's been too long since you've been around, and I don't know why. It's all unsatiated. And have you been lost sometime? Have you been real there? Have you been taken back by the woman that you left behind? And have you been hit down? I've been down to the bone and I may sound a little bit. Well, I'm in around and I'm be a passerby? Oh, don't you sit down and stay a while. Oh, don't you be a passerby. Oh, don't you sit down and stay a while. 'Cause it's been too long since you've been around, and I don't know why.
Early on, I was really all about the acoustic stuff, and I downloaded whatever I could find, which at the time, as I said, was far from their complete discography, because that's just how it was with Napster. You got what other people online had. So when I came across this next track off their newest album at the time, Who Are We Living For?, you can understand I was kind of disappointed. It was too hard for me. It's too much rock, and actually even now I still don't even really like this version. I really wanted to put the version from one of their later live albums on here because that one's awesome, but I went ahead and went with the original that I don't even really like because I wanted to get across the sharp contrast from, say, the previous song that I really loved to this next one, so you can understand what I felt when I heard this. I kind of felt like maybe their newest album, well, maybe their best days were behind them, but that was just early on, and anyway, needless to say, it's quite different from the previous track.
Hold up the firing line, hold steady on the trigger's time. Walk away, counting backwards from 9, holding his breath so to start his own diet. Time served to the ones that left you here. No people here, only names. Soon to be put the number so it's one and the same. It's anyone's game, as long as the fire flickers. The boat stickers, they place their bet. The trouble is that no one's added it up quite yet. Cause when they do, yeah, right head and the wire is down. Hold up for the Fiorita sound. Hold up your head from the ground. What'll keep you on it? Your time. Time served to the ones that left you here. From tower to wall to guard to wall, you ever ready for the fire to fall? The confinees haven't seen the sun since the life has let go of their irrelevant innocence. But long before a single round was shot, word spread from block to cell block. They're gonna take him and make an example of him for the escapees to fear.
Okay, so I figured I don't like the new stuff, but whatever. I had this amazing collection of the old acoustics and these bootlegs, and come spring break of my freshman year, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I ended up on a road trip to Mexico. Standard stuff. And we were headed to Rosarito, not TJ, because we're classy. And I was headed down there with a guy I sort of knew, sort of. but I was planning on living with him the next year, so it seemed like a good plan. Turns out he was my roommate for the next 3 years, and essentially my brother from another mother. But anyway, I brought a Dispatch mix CD along for the ride. So after he played every bootleg Roots, Sublime, Long Beach Dub All-Stars, and probably Ben Harper track 2 ever recorded, I threw on Dispatch. And very appropriately, Drive was the first track. And he too was hooked. Summer, after we'd moved out of FT and moved into 6745 DP, Noah and I were walking over to our buddy's house on the 66 block when we hear this next track I'm going to play emanating from the upstairs of the Dolphin House. Now, no one we knew about Dispatch, really, so, we obviously just headed on over and knocked on the door, because that's just how it was in IV during the summer. And we were greeted by 2 very attractive females with unique names. One with a particularly unique name. Now, if memory serves me, and it may not because I know we had debates about whether this was right or not, but anyway, I think it was Regina and Pervine. So they'd gone to see G-Love and Special Sauce at the House of Blues in LA, and Dispatch had opened, and they were just blown away. They told us all about the show, and this was the first I'd ever heard of the guys switching instruments and them all singing. It just sounded amazing. We didn't have YouTube, so I didn't know. So yeah, I obviously went back to their place a few days later and dropped off a copy of my mix CD. Not because I was trying to hit on them, obviously. I was just sharing the music. Okay, I may have left a note with my number and said some other stuff, but whatever. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this next track is what they were listening to when we rolled in.
She woke me up with a bang bang, looking over cross-eyed. Had a big hunch that the world was a big lie. When I got up, all the blood to my head, I got so dizzy, fell back into my bed. I went over to the wayside, looking for the high tide. What will I find? Will I find? Will I find? All I saw was a man that had a hat that had a pom-pom. He's been there for years. Can someone tell me how long? Wake up to tell me. Wake up to show me what I could not find. Wake up to tell me. Wake up to show me what I could not. You see, this woman woke me up at 2:45, and I didn't know it then, but she put a spell on me. Said I had to go down to where the cliffs meet the sea and meet an old man to present my plea. So I headed way down to the big pier to await and confront my big fear. I wheeled around behind to my blind side to find an old man with a lime and a kind eye. Said, Mister, with your beard so long, won't you be a saint and tell me just where I'm going? He pointed to a conch shell and then to the line and said, this is all I really need to get by. Wake up to tell me. Wake up to show me what I could not find. Wake up to tell me. Wake up to show me what I could not. Hey, hey, Mr. Man, I know you don't know who you think I am, but I can safely say that I should have been sleeping the day away. Somebody pull that shade. Hey, hey. I said, excuse me, have you got the time? He shrugged his shoulders, said, get a spine. Coconut hit me on the head, Jones in for a fig. I got booked last night, I need another fix, dig? Just then I see a twinkle, twinkle in the old man's eye, and a wave-tossed bottle is thrown to the sky. I caught it on the rebound, it landed with a soft sound. I took out the message, put the bottle down. Inside was an antidote to the spell, and I read it to the man cause he couldn't read so well. Said, don't worry.
It was later that year that Dispatch released their first live album called Gut the Van. I'm not sure how I actually even got it. I remember checking record stores, and in Santa Barbara, of course, they had no idea what I was talking about, and I must have just ordered it online, but it's hard to get across how that just wasn't the automatic thing that it is now, just ordering things online. And I remember being so unsure about release dates and basically any details. It's hard to really imagine now with all the resources I have at my fingertips, but anyway, regardless, that double album is probably the best CD I've ever bought. Vegas and the original Dave and Tim are the only others in the running at all. And my favorite track on there has to be Steeples. Now, Steeples was already probably my favorite song of theirs at the time, so instead of play the Gut the Van version for you, I'm going to play this bootleg live recording, which was probably done before I'd ever even heard of Dispatch, and is significantly different, but just, yeah, equally awesome, and just, yeah, so good. So good.
This is a song called Steeples.
I heard a story about a boy who was swept off the deck. The sweeping tide swept the sea over his neck. But it did not end there. The boy began to swim and dared to the sea that dared to invade him. Did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel that? Did you feel it? Did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel like I could? That carries us down, down. so much as replied. So the boy out of the ships that were fated to die, red sky at night. Sailors take delight, red sky in the morning. Sailors take warning, and did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel like I could? Did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel like I could? Oh, that carries us down. Take it back, 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 take it back. Sail on, take it back, 'cause we were going with the wind in our hair, and we didn't wanna look back, 'cause if we didn't, would not care, and if we all were dying out, we wouldn't be that bad, 'cause that boy in the wave said he'd give us everything, everything he had to go. Trace that scar like we did 10 years before. Yeah. Working on guitar. Did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel like you could? Did you ever want to know me? And did you ever feel like I could? It's a silent or silent steeple. Don't let it carry us down. It's a silent steeple. Take it back, 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 take it back. Sail on, oh, won't you take me back there? I don't need to be told, I don't want another person coming up for air. And will you take this from me? I will be. I have my bed, but I don't wanna pay a fee, 'cause I might be dollar, 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 dollar,
Yo, we're gonna give it up to Chet Rowe.
'Cause it's the policy makers that make the breakers. You can be overtaken by the forsaken forsakers. Not advertising my soul for sale. It's a dog eat dog, another dog wags that think too much and we feel too little. From shacks to tracks, we're all stuck in the middle. And I know you're telling me to settle down. Well, you can fool me, but you can't fool the whole town. Save your words and save your speeches. I'll be battering the mainstream for light pieces. And when that cobbler's son has got no shoes, you will bear your tongue by the language that you use. And I won't go. If you're taking thinking, I won't say. Yeah, you might have done, you are my friend, but it's all I can say. I won't need to break on. I've been brave, I won't die, I'm not safe. I won't die, I won't die. You I could. And did you ever?
Now, I can't get away with playing nothing at all from Gut the Van, obviously. So another favorite track of mine was Prince of Spades. This song prominently features djembe, which provides an excellent opportunity to point out that it was at this time, the fall 2001, that I took that crappy Doombeck off my shelf, headed down to Mike's drum shop to look for a teacher, and found Booty Harlow and began my life as a drummer. I've already gone through that story a couple podcasts ago, but yeah, Dispatch is the reason for sure. So yeah, thanks Dispatch, thank you, Bradigan.
Coming back, coming home. The Queen of Love enters the room, silence ensues. To the King, what have you done to my life? Take me for a fool or for a while. The King's in his court, counting all his diamonds, one by one they do fall. Says the Queen of Pride, the Prince of Spades is coming home. It'd be nice if you could find some time alone. After all, it's a line for the throne. The King is in his court. by one they do fall. Alright, this is repeat on guitar.
Months after the live album came out that I finally got my chance to see them live. It was November 28th, 2001 at the House of Blues in LA. Noah and I got there early, got our spots in front and center, and we watched the floor fill in around us until it was absolutely jammed. I must say the crowd was younger than we expected, and that's saying something because I was only 20 at the time. At one point, some girls behind us asked if they could move in front of us since we were so tall. No. Not for this band, high schoolers. Anyway, the concert was absolutely amazing. Best concert I've ever seen, hands down. That music, that performance, at that time in my life, it was essentially a religious experience for me. And fine, I'll say it. I even teared up. It really was just that good and that moving for me. It was really a turning point in my appreciation of their music, too. They played much more rock and electric versions of their songs than I was used to, but I loved it. Time Served was amazing. You can actually download the live show online, but the audio is really bad because I think it was going through a modem or something. So instead of playing something from that, I've included a link to where you can download that if you want to in the blog. But I'm going to include a track with Pete Francis on vocals. He's typically on bass, but on this one, he's on guitar. And you can always tell a Pete Francis guitar solo. There's something staccato or punchy about it. It's a unique sound. Anyway, this version is off Gut the Van too, and features Paul Tillinson. And awesomely enough, Pauly T was at our LA show.
So this is a new song called Lightning. This song goes out to Raymond Bork. We are the dealers with the words around the tails at it, cigarette smoke, sliding through the tunnels of our RIAA. Was greasy marionettes of real bone and blood,
stand on the corner of Washington Square. Yeah, Washington Square. Well, our vision was stinging, yeah, and our eyes were blurring. Elevator got you rising so high, 17 floors, you want so much more. Elevator got you rising so high, 17 floors, you want so much more. There's lightning on the ceiling, coming from the corner of her eye. Yeah, there's lightning on the ceiling, coming from the corner of her eye. Somewhere horses flee from thunder. Somewhere the bones of a cat are buried under. I got it, yeah. But there's a radio on broken song. Empty digression, it won't be long. Won't belong to you and me. I'm gone from here. There's lightning on the ceiling, coming from the corner of her eye. Yeah, there's lightning on the ceiling, coming from the corner of her greasy marionettes reading bone and blood. Stand on the corner of Washington, Washington, Washington Square. Well, our vision was still, and our eyes were blurring, yeah.
too long after that live show that rumors began to spread of a live Dispatch DVD. Again, I don't remember having great information about it until one day my roommate and I got notice somehow that there was going to be a screening of the DVD in LA. Without really knowing what to expect, Noah and I went down to the Knitting Factory in LA for a screening. And it turned out to be an incredibly special event. Brad again, Rich Price, and this guy Dave Pransky, who Brad had met while surfing in Costa Rica or something, were there. First they showed most, if not all, of the DVD, and then the three of them played together. And the performance was really cool. Brad and Rich were on guitar, and Dave was playing mandolin. I think this may have been my first experience seeing mandolin live, and well, with my future love of Chris Thiele, I really can't thank Dave enough for the introduction. So Pransky is now playing bass in this other pretty cool band called Two Bob Crew, which definitely could have fit on my African Strings podcast. I put a link to one of their videos in the blog. But anyway, after the performance, Brad hung out, took questions, and this was the first time I got a hint that they might be breaking up. But obviously I was in denial and just completely ignored that. And someone asked for a CD recommendation, and Brad's suggestion was unequivocal. He said we all needed to go get Friday Night in San Francisco. And my longtime podcast listeners know that I took this to heart. And we also got to talk with Dave Pransky a bit. I'll remember writing my email on a piece of paper for him, not really expecting anything because it all appeared pretty haphazard. But he did contact me, and he ended up sending over a demo. So this next track is from that demo disc. So I don't know if you're gonna hear that anywhere else. Yeah. So here's Rivendell by Dave Pransky. If you couldn't guess, I absolutely loved the live DVD. But it's great not just because I love the music. The DVD is unique in that it mixes songs performed at different venues and every few tracks cuts in some background interview that provides a little context and really deepens the whole experience. And until now, I hadn't really thought of how that similarity with how I put the podcast together, but I guess I just have a predilection for that sort of delivery. Of course, they don't talk over their own songs, but anyway, it's really great because once I got my hands on a copy, we had a showing of the DVD at my house, 926 Camino del Sur, with a bunch of our friends. And those little tidbits really brought everyone into the whole story of Dispatch. And yeah, you really need to check it out. It's called Under the Radar, and you should buy it. But if you don't want to buy it, Dispatch has actually posted the whole thing on YouTube. I've included a link on the blog. So you should go watch it immediately after this podcast. But anyway, the song Going Now is one of those tracks that the guys give a little background for, and it really just brings so much to the song. You know, so often I'm drawn to music without lyrics, but when I do find lyrics I love, there's usually this one thing that they have in common. And I think my dad put it best. We were having a conversation about Florence and the Machine. He said, in praise of her, that her lyrics are abstract enough to apply beyond the realm of her personal endeavors within her local world. And I think that's really a key, and I think Dispatch really just nails that with their lyrics.
Walking right in front of me. Don't you look in, I'm not here. You see, dead man told me where I am. I said he's waiting there, where it's all even. Misconstrued, the search continues. The hidden afraid are never betrayed by the already found and taken away. Oh, and in a different place, the hands that hold your face are only trying to keep you warm. They'll never ever find me. They'll never ever find me. Headman walking right in front of me. Don't you look in, I'm not here. You see, dead man told me where I am. I said he's waiting there, where it's all
Okay, so now chronologically, we are in October of 2003, actually near the end of October, and I was at LAX, about to get on a red-eye flight to New York to surprise my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, who was living there, going to Parsons, the new school, for the year. I'd just gotten off the phone with her, assuring her that the noise in the background was just Jason's TV up really loud. Of course, really, it was the boarding announcements and whatnot. But anyway, this guy comes walking up, and I feel like I recognize him. But so with some trepidation, I went up to him and I asked, "Are you Pete Francis?" And it was. And he was super cool, and he seemed real stoked to have someone recognize him on the West Coast. You know, probably happens a lot more in the Boston area. But anyway, he gave me a demo disc and he signed it, and then we got on the same flight to New York. And halfway through the flight, he was sitting a few rows ahead of me. I was looking at the back of his head, and I started thinking, why the hell didn't I get a picture with him? That was dumb. So yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed by this, but once we arrive in New York at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something, I kind of holler at him, like, Pete. And I chase him down, and he graciously stood for 2 photos, because obviously the first one was blurry. But okay, I was starstruck. So forgive me, Pete. And on that note, this next song is the first file I ever ended up finding labeled Pete Francis. I don't know where I downloaded it from, and he's playing with Dispatch, but it's one of the songs on his demo, so that he gave me. So I don't know. I guess it's his song, but regardless, I absolutely love it. This is "Burn in the River."
Mikey Burton. His lips don't move, but it's still his speed. His gim glazed eyes stare at me. You tell me of his papa working on the railway. He's blowing his harmonica in the morning. I'm checking in, checking out, feeling love, feeling out. Deeper fish, deeper lungs, deeper world from the deeper tongue. He said, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. He said, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I'm burning in the river. Yeah, burning the river. Burning, I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning the river. Oh, I'm burning the river. Yeah, I'm burning the river, burning the river. So I go home. A girl lies in my bed. I hold her hip bone and pull her closer. I put her cold hands between my thighs and stare out the window into a darkening sky. I'm checking in, checking out, feeling love, feeling out. Deeper fish, deeper lungs, deeper world from the deeper tongue. She said, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. She said, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, oh Lord, I'm burning in the river. Yeah, I'm burning the river. Burning, I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning the river. Again, take us home.
She left only a body for me. I lie here feeling ill, waiting for sleep in the early hours.
Sometime during that school year, probably more towards the spring, Bradigan came and played the use in the middle of the day, outside down by the pond. And by this time, word was out that they were breaking up, which was lame, but hey, that happens. You know, obviously Noah and I were there to check out Brad play his new solo stuff and played some Spash tunes. And afterwards, he was kind enough to let us get a picture with him. And I think his solo album had maybe just come out. This next track, Fallen, is easily my favorite song off that release. I remember him playing it with Rich Price and Pransky. I really wish I had that version because it was so incredible, but you know, the studio version I'll have to do, and really listen for that bass line. The bass line is killer. I love it. A great song, but killer bass line.
Shut, his tongue at bay. Falling, I am falling down the mountain once again. Falling, I am falling down the mountain once again. Senor, I have a question. You, is there a lesson? Story wrapped so tight that you need share. What in this life we need beware. Please excuse my insolence. I do nothing here to offend. Though my eyes don't blink, yes, my mind does think that in you I found a friend. Oh, please accept my innocence. I do nothing more this day.
In terms of solo careers, the only guy left to discuss is Chad. Now, he didn't really go solo. He basically just started another band, State Radio. And I'm not sure when I first got the early recordings, but supposedly the EP Simmer Kane and Flag of the Shiners first came out in 2002. So obviously I was late on that, but I did order them before the first LP, Against the Crown, came out. Or maybe I got all three of them together. Anyway, who knows? I was pretty much immediately a fan, and Gunship Politico was and still is one of my favorite State Radio tracks, so let's start there.
On the one they'll catch you if you skirt disaster. On the day they told her, but you wanna stay. And on the ones that saw you, witnesses of Goya. elected to serve you till your dying day. Till your dying day. I hope you don't get what you're after. I hope you don't get what you're after. To whom it may concern, I'm writing on behalf of a brother twice burned. Know you'll be reaching your time, just a product of your mind. But when you continue to let loose on the running man, you send them crashing to the edge of the pavement. You're doing something you don't quite understand, making life a lesson man. So be gone to please. Just give me your vehicle to ride on. Doing something you don't quite understand, making life a lesson man. In your gunship political. I hope you don't get what you're after. In your gunship political. I hope you don't get what you're after. I know you're reaching your time, just a product of your mind. But when you continue to let loose on a running man, you send them crashing to the edge of the pavement. You're doing something you don't quite understand, making life a lesson man. So be gone to please. You got your vehicle to ride on, off to the commissioner as fast as you can, with your smoking gun in hand. In your gunship political. I hope you don't get what you're after. In your gunship political. I hope you don't get what you're after. In your gunship. Searchlight, a cop shadows on the wall, several stories tall and still in world such a fright. One's kicked in the gun, he's all cut up by the corner cop. One stands in defense in a broken sense and says not to be shy, if you please. You men of authority, we do not speak your language, see. Please act accordingly, cause he wasn't begging, but he was just keeping time with his code. You go on and believe that, you keep your eyes straight up, and I was just looking. I had no intention to touch, but I know when I'm not welcome, so I thank you very much. Step Joe, you ain't guilty, but you did get caught. So for lack of a better suspect, we nominate you to ride this one out, to see this one through. Let's see it. Thrown up in a never fearful protest. The firing squad would ever think to notice. If he could summon the likes of Moses to put the blood back in his friend's veins. And if you're one step faster, you can scare disaster. It's not you to be the next guy who's the wrong color at the wrong time. And the day's over and the decision still stands. His honor in his chamber still worship.
Right near the time of my college graduation, I got an email about a last dispatch from Boston. Dispatch, they were breaking up, but they decided to give one final massive send-off show to thank all the fans at the Hat Shell in Boston. And it was scheduled for July 31st, 2004, and for some reason I justified to myself not going because I had to start my new job right after graduation and whatever. I regretted that decision for a while, but recent events, which I'll get to, have fixed that. Anyway, it turned out to be a huge success, and it was supposedly the largest independent music concert ever. They expected 10 to 30,000 people, but Wikipedia says there were actually 166,000. They made a live DVD from the show, and actually they played an earlier small exclusive show indoors, so the live DVD is 2 discs and covers both shows. The first 3 tracks from the indoor show disc are 3 of my favorite Dispatch recordings of all time. They make for just such a terrific start to that album. Anyway, of course, I pre-ordered the album, and when it arrived, I was super stoked to find out that somehow I'd gotten an autographed copy, which was really cool. But possibly even cooler than that is something I found out later, thanks to the only person I know that loves Dispatch as much as I do. I was over at Noah's place, and we were watching the songs from the DVD, and he said, "Oh, have you seen the credits?" I was like, "No, I never watch the credits." And when I do watch credits, I definitely don't watch them all the way through to the end. And apparently, therefore, I miss some cool stuff sometimes. Luckily, Noah was looking out, and he fast forwards to the end. And what's at the end? But a giant list of fans, and both our names are there. So definitely got to thank Noah for throwing my name down too in whatever email he sent or responded to that got us on there. Very cool. And yeah, so with that, let's listen to the third of those 3 tracks from the indoor show with Craigie D on saxophone. Here we go.
slipping down the start some uptight right wing political homicide. Do what you want, take what you will, take it in like a southpaw, flip it on the grill. Boys, what we throw that call. Bottoms up, boys, this is your last call. Happy hour doesn't last too long. You know it never dies. So I sit here on the bar stool, looking at the sky, and I'm in a corner in the bucket full of ride, yo. It's a battle line, you'll get time in the break zone. Just tell the mighty you got your own dirt. Time, dig, you got your own dirt today. Come on, here we go. Leave it on the back, gonna take it to the drop town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back, take it to the drop town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back, take it to the drop town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back, take it to the drop town. Yeah. Well, me and my feedback friends, we ran and have our own feast of Crispy and Murphy was there with number 22. They were caught in the middle of a coup. You will lose me if I don't lose you, and I will lose me if I don't lose you. Come on. So we haven't chosen one of you to condemn, so make your decision and choose your side. Let us begin. The board down to a speakeasy with my double-edged sword. You know the deal, yeah, you just spin the wheel, hurting heavens. I'm full of sevens, and as a matter of fact, you know that cat, suicide cat. We don't play like that. Truth is, we don't really play at all. Oh, here we go. Leave it on the back burner, take it to the God town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back burner, take it to the God town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back burner, take it to the God town. Yeah, here we go. Leave it on the back burner, take it to the drop town. Yeah.
It's 2005, so Dispatch is broken up, and to be honest, I'm not really feeling Brad or Pete's solo things, but luckily for me, Chad is definitely still resonating with me, and I finally get to go see State Radio, November 19th, 2005, at the Knitting Factory, right where a couple years before I'd seen the Under the Radar screening. That was kind of a cool coincidence. It was a small show with maybe 100 people. I don't know, I could be misremembering that, but what I do remember is I was walking down a hall and I see this really scruffy dude coming the other way, and it takes a second before I realize that it's Chad, you know. I didn't stop him or anything because I know he was working, but I did put up my fist and got the reciprocal bump, so that was cool. You know, it's the little things in life, right? Anyway, the show was amazing. Before they played the Diner song, Chad gave a little introduction to the track, and he pointed out that the guy who's the subject of the song was in the crowd, and him and all his buddies were going nuts. If you don't know the song, look it up, and you'll see why that's so awesome and hilarious. But basically, I fell in love with state radio. I saw him several times. Once I saw him at the Parish in Austin. I think I've mentioned that show before because the opener, Otis, was so good. I actually met them at a few years later at an unofficial South by Southwest thing that they were playing, and I was talking to him. I mentioned that I'd seen him at that show, and they all remembered the show vividly. They said it was the best crowd they'd ever played to. Another time I saw state radio, they were opening for 311 at the Music Hall in Austin, and I was very tempted to punch a guy in the crowd who was yelling, "Get off the stage, bring out 311. And I mean, 311? Really? Whatever. Anyway, the good part was since they were the opener, Chad was at the merch booth when 311 came out, and so I finally got my picture with the third and final member of the Spatch. I also saw them one day at the Mudfest. It was like in the morning sometime at Mudfest ACL, whatever year that was, 2007, 2008. I think I've seen them other times too. Anyway, another interesting tidbit is I happen to know an Eskimo brother of the drummer, Michael Naharian. I don't know how you say his name. They were on a break or something. Apparently she went back to the drummer. But yeah, might also be worth noting that Michael Naharian came in to replace Brian Sayers, who was the original guy, and his first show playing with state radio was in Austin at Emos, or at least that's what Wikipedia said. So I thought I'd say it too. Okay, enough talking. I'm just going to play my favorite state radio song. And of all the times I've seen him, I've never heard him play it live. So guess I got to go see him again sometime. Here's Sudan.
There is a coming, a rumble in the sand. It sets our feet to running for the fear of the faceless man. For the fear of the faceless man. But if I had an arsenal, and if I was 10 feet tall, then I would put an end to it all. And if I had wheat to burn, and if I had a lot to learn, then I still would not matter what color you were. And if I had but one wish on which to stand, I wish the weapons all turned to sand, and I'd see the gunners wash their empty hands, fall down to their sides. Down when they come up lonely, oh, hungry for the kill. The horses do the pounding, but it's a blood that's gonna spill. It's a dark blood that's gonna spill. Yeah, but if I had an arsenal, and if I was 10 feet tall, then I would not matter what color you were. And if I had but one wish on which to stand, I'd see the weapons all turn to sand, and I'd see the gunners wash their empty hands and fall down to their sides. And if I had but one wish on which to stand, I'd see the weapons all leave Sudan.
sometime in late 2010 or early 2011, I get this email to expect some dispatch news. And okay, I'm stoked, right? But what is it? They've played a few shows here and there to raise money for charity because they're just kind of awesome like that. But this time it's different. Eventually, word comes through that they're getting the band back together and starting possibly at the best music venue on the planet, Red Rocks. And since we didn't go to the Hat Shell show, obviously my wife and I had to go to this one. They played 3 nights, and we were there 2 of them, June 4th and 5th. And big thanks to my mom for coming with us to babysit my 6-month-old son while mom and dad went to the show 2 nights in a row. It was really good and really cool, but I have to admit, I really found myself kind of wanting to see state radio instead. You know, for whatever reason, I didn't feel the magic. I think the same went for Beth. So this next one is for her. It's probably her favorite state radio song, and if you've ever been to one of their shows, you know it's quite possibly the most fun point of any of their concerts. So here it is, Knights of Bostonia.
Caught the sun down at Castle Island, summer spending its finest gold. They were selling and we were buying, just looking for someone to hold. Another fit, another fight, I never saw you blink. We've been up against a crab apple slingshot sting. Well, I got my trash can lid on my wing. One night at a round table out, I was working on the straight and narrow. You came at me like a cannonball. I saw you sleeping in the city stables. You made me feel all the 10 feet tall. The coming for the rules and the cops and the code and all together, and together we fall through the cracks in the city street. Yeah, through the cracks in the city street. That's right, sit straight and listen up. We are the Knights of Bostonia. We'll tell the court, you tell the king. We ain't listening to you no more. We are the Knights of Bostonia. Yeah. And only you can set you free. And I would follow you out of the city, up down out the Salmon Hill. Dark man says the water gonna kill me. Better that than sitting still. They're coming forward, the rules and the cops and the code and all together, and together we fall through the cracks in the city street. Yeah, through the cracks in the city street. That's right, sit straight and listen up. We are the Knights of Bostonia. We'll tell the court, you tell the king. We ain't listening to you no more. We are the Knights of Bostonia. Only you can set you free. You blink. We've been up against a crab apple slingshot sting. I got my trash can lid on my wing. One night at a round table law, and we'll fight the coming fall. So sit straight and listen up. We are the Knights of Bostonia.
Alright, so going back to the Red Rock show again, okay, so the magic wasn't really there. At least not for me. That's okay. I'd gone through another 10 years of life or so, and so, one could be forgiven for having their taste change just a little bit, or, not having the same connection or feeling or whatever. There's so many things that go into making a concert great or not, and, that said, you can understand I was somewhat unmoved when last year they announced that they had a new studio album coming out and they would be playing a show in LA. Originally, it was scheduled to be at the Greek Theater, and I haven't had great luck with shows at that venue, so I didn't even buy tickets. At some point, though, the venue changed to the House of Blues, and so the House of Blues, I've seen a lot of good shows there, not just Dispatch. And about 3 weeks before the show, I bought tickets to go see him. It was September 26, 2012. And so it's been nearly 11 years since the original show. And so, I knew I had to go. But of course, I was a bit skeptical. But then they came out strong and were rocking. But then when they went into that newer track, Beto, it was all over. They kicked it into the higher gear. I was sold, and I'm happy to announce that it's official. They're back. Dispatch is back. So it was an incredible show, and you just got to go see them live.
Beto, where will you go? Beto, what will you do? Beto, why don't you know, your time is through. Peddle all your guns and all along the way. Oh, what the people say. Beto, the fury's near. Lock your doors, get out. Doña Maria, she said to me, it's so much more than rice and beans. Well, that I'm cooking for you. It's how I love them true. Bring me your brothers, bring me your mothers. Oh, the little and the broken too. I will not lead them, no, I just feed them. Let me be me and you be you. I see all your life. I see all your life. Up on the hilltop, flashing lights. Up on the hilltop, the barrels never lie. Up on the hilltop, I heard it said, in a gunshot word, that Beto the pure was dead. Still I swear I see him walking and talking there. I see him walking and talking. I feel all your Beto, where did you go? Beto, what will you do? Beto, why don't you know, this time your eyes I know. Peddling all your sons and all along the way. All of the people wave. Beto, the fury's near. Unlock your doors and have no fear. Have no fear. Have no fear. Beto la pora. Beto la pora.
Well, that show was awesome, and they really rocked out, and they had the special guests and the big crowd that was going crazy. As we come to the end of this podcast, I want to go back to what it was and what it still is that makes them so awesome. And the real key is that these guys are, simply put, just three amazing musicians. They're three band leaders who got together and just set out to make good music that if people listen to and like it, awesome. If not, well, they're at least making the music they love. The foundation of Dispatch is just, it's just, they're founded in this brazen, idealistic optimism, and it worked. And it's just so cool that it worked. And so I want to go way back in the catalog, strip away everything except a little guitar and a lot of harmony, and play you one of my favorite songs from way back. Here's Hey Hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
Well, I'm moving kinda slow down that same old path, wasting time inside this hourglass. She's coming up ahead now, and I feel, yes, I feel my head turning like a race car wheel. Maybe I'll try to say another time. I gotta find a way to get inside your mind. I'll talk smooth, walk one step closer, be real cool, real cool, real cool, real cool, dang, real cool.
Say what you want, say what you mean. Question yourself, are you really what you seem? Say who you are, say what you mean. Question yourself, are you really what you dream?
Now here I come one more time, but she slides on by. Not even a second look, she took the bait. Right off of that hook, I got my blinders on tight. I pull my cap a little lower, I can't hide away. You might think this is easy for me, but there's a lot of things you don't know, you don't care, you don't wanna see. It's a long while since I've got myself across, but maybe there's a reason for that. Even if I caught you, I'll throw you back.
Say what you want, say what you mean. Question yourself, are you really what you seem? Say who you are, say what you mean. Question yourself, are you really what you dream? Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Well, I really don't wanna fall back, 'cause you don't seem like you care. And if I would fall back,
you don't seem like you care.
Fall down your back, fall down your back, fall down your back.
You don't seem
fall
like
down
you
your
care.
back. I will not hold you back.
You don't seem like you care.
Fall back, you don't.
Hey, yeah, hey, hey, yeah, hey, hey, yeah, yeah.
So finally, we've reached the last track, and I've decided to finish where it all began for me. The first song Jerry sent me was Elias. Now, I can't even begin to think about how many times I've played this song. Besides this song clearly being one of the seeds to my future life as a drummer, the lyrical content is also just incredibly powerful, and I can think of several times in my life where the song has really hit me, but one memory in particular sticks with me. It was just before work on one of those chilly, drizzly, LA, wintry type days when I got a call that my uncle had died. And it was really unexpected, and it was rough. This uncle, he'd meant a lot to me growing up. We'd spent just hours and hours together as I tagged along with him on the golf course since before I could even swing a club, and he let me. And when I finally could, he taught me how to play, how to drive a golf cart, how when no one's looking, you can make a golf cart spin around on wet grass, and how when you're playing with other people, how to the etiquette to not annoy the crap out of them when you're playing with them, especially important for little kids. Yeah, so anyway, I was riding my bike to work in the pre-dawn darkness right after hearing that news, and the song came on shuffle on my iPod. I hadn't heard it in a while, and it just really hit me. And I literally had to pull over for a minute and just kind of take a second. It was heavy, but really the song is, it's optimistic. So I played it again. I got back on my bike, took strength in the music and pedaled on, because that's what you do. Find strength, keep going.
Taesu farada he, na Jesu atwane kwa. Taesu farada he, taesu farada he, farada he, taesu farada he, farada he, na Jesu atwane kwa. Taesu farada he, na Jesu atwane kwa. Taesu farada he, taesu farada he, farada he, taesu farada he, farada he. Kaziwai, makasimba, ere. Ndakasimba, kana makasimba, oh. Ndakasimba, Ndakasimba, kana makasimba, oh. You raise your head, beat the sun, but your boys, they lie. So close to you, do you dare get up and wake the two? Oh, Elias, I see you there at work in the daytime. Do you think you could answer all the questions of the world in just one word? I think you could. If you die, will I get word that you're gone? Or will I hear it in passing conversation? Or will I stop short and fall to the ground? Distance is short when your hand carries what your eye found. On my end, just one more time. If you're really gonna be there, honest and Manuel, well, you know, they're at school now, given the chance that their fathers never seen. See what's beyond Section 17. And in 10 years, when you look back at your boys, well, you know they've grown way taller than the tallest sugar cane in the field. If you die, will I get word that you're gone? Or will I hear it in passing conversation? Or will I stop short and fall to the ground? Distance is short when your hand carries what your eye found. Hold my hand just one more time. See if you're really gonna do it. Hold my hand just one more time. Hold my hand just one more time. Hold my hand just one more time.
All right. As always, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed these first 50 episodes. There are many more to come. Don't worry. Come join the conversation over at facebook.com/activelistener, or shoot me an email at activelistenerpodcast@gmail.com, or leave comments on the blog. And, you know, as always, most important of all, don't forget to support the artists. Go to the shows, buy the music, buy the merch. Until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.
Look up, you know, I think they got their mother's eyes, 'cause she looks so proud. She looks so happy. She looks so proud. She looks so happy. Yeah, if you die, will I get word that you're gone? Or will I hear it in passing conversation? Or will I stop short and fall to the ground? Distance is short when your hand carries what your eye found. Hold my hand just one more time. See if you're really gonna do it. Hold my hand just one more time. See if you're really gonna do it. Hold my hand just one more time. Hold my hand one more Hold my hand just one more time to see if you're really gonna meet me. Hold my hand just one more time to see if you're really gonna meet me.